Everybody knows that Windows 11 is unbearable dog shit. Now, if you've ever heard of Linux before, I actually prefer Windows over Linux as a foundational system. I just don't like the Microsoft BS put on top of it. I think that Windows is just an easier and simpler system, because also trying to get non-tech savvy users to try to go through a huge, long, complex install process. I mean, come on. A lot of people on the internet forget when they get home, they hop on the computer to pay some bills, maybe watch some YouTube, play a game or something, and then get off, right? They don't want to sit there doing a bunch of complex stuff. Now, I personally feel like currently, even though there are many tools to try to fix and debloat Windows, I feel like they're way too complex. I feel like they're way too tech savvy. Like, for example, many of these tools will have you open something called PowerShell, and then they'll have you run commands and then sit through and check every box or something. And I just think that that's not... I mean, come on. Even I don't want to do that. And I'd consider myself a pretty tech-savvy person. When I get a brand new computer, a fresh install of Windows, what I want to be able to do is just click something, wait a few minutes, and then my system is just perfectly clean and good to go. I don't want to sit here and deal with this shit, okay? So that's why me and the boys over at Raven were working on making our own tool to debloat Windows, where it legitimately is just 2 clicks. You would click one of these buttons, you would click the I understand thing, it would install, it would finish, and then your system would look clean and beautiful. The start menu would be completely cleaned out. And because this was a showcase of a early development build, it wasn't finished in this video. I was just showing off and asking for feedback. Obviously, it wasn't perfect. Like you can see, this UI is not great. This UI is very primitive. It doesn't look too well. And also, there was no way to optionally choose if you wanted Raven software. So because my team Raven made it, we have our own additional software like a Notepad replacement and stuff, because Notepad is integrating AI. If you didn't know, Microsoft's adding AI into Notepad now and stuff, so we make our own alternatives. But we didn't make it optional in this version, but in the final version we did, of course, because many people had a lot of feedback. This video absolutely blew up, and you guys left a ton of comments and feedback. So like this, for example, this dude was talking about how it needs to be open source. It is. This person was talking about how we shouldn't include our apps, or at least make it optional. And I agree. A lot of people were talking about the Raven apps thing, and then some people were even like, hey, you shouldn't get rid of Paint, hey, you shouldn't get rid of Phone Link, because some of that stuff is actually genuinely useful. This dude was talking about the EA app, example being included in the gaming preset. So we listened to all of your guys' feedback, and we built a final complete version, and it is dropping today. As you're watching this video, it should be posted and available. I recommend you watch this video first and let me show it off and explain it to you first before you go using it, just in case, so you don't get confused, although it is very easy to use by yourself. In this video, I want to show you the process from start to finish of me running it, show it off a little, and then I want to compare it to other tools and really talk about why I feel like this tool is necessary. I want to go a little bit into detail, but not too much technical detail, telling you how it works and whatnot. Now, before I start the application and show it off, I do just want to mention that the speed of the install depends very largely on your hardware as well as your network speed. So the speed that's shown in this video may be different for you. It may be faster or slower depending on your hardware. If you have good hardware, decent internet, you can expect it to go by really fast. So you can just double click the application to start it. You do need to make sure that Defender is disabled before you run it. After you do that, though, you run it. It'll ask for administrator privileges, of course, because it's going to be making a lot of big modifications to your Windows system. You should always run this on freshly installed systems, like a brand new fresh install of Windows. Don't try to run this on a Windows system that you've already been using for a long time. The reason for that is because it may cause corruption, it may cause certain apps to stop working, it may cause other kinds of problems. So if you do have Defender disabled, then it will check every 3 seconds and it'll let you know, hey, disable Defender. But since I have it disabled, you can now click close to proceed. And then you get met with this screen, this nice screen. It'll show the icons and it'll let you pick which browser you want. We recommend Firefox because it's the best balance between easy to use as well, normie friendly, as well as pretty privacy respecting. If you want to go even further with privacy respecting, obviously LibreWolf would probably be the best choice, but I'm going to go Firefox here. And now optionally, you can choose if you want Raven software, like Scratchpad, Redact, whatnot. I'm not going to show it off in this video just because I want to show that it is optional now. But yes, if you did want it, you can click that and it will be a part of the install process. And now you get a loading screen. You get the installing screen. And now you just wait a little bit. Now, as you can see, it does cover your screen because the whole point is obviously to be user-friendly for non-tech savvy people. If they saw a bunch of terminal screens and a bunch of crazy shit popping up and, floods of text and all that, they'd probably get, pretty freaked out. So this clean, elegant install screen, of course, makes it very easy and user-friendly for them. But if you did want to see what's going on in the background, you very easily can. You can actually press the Windows key, and you can see everything that's running in the background. So this is a good way if you did want to see what was going on, if it's still working, and yes, it is currently working. So the order of operations here for the install process is very simple. First, it's going to go through the browser install. Then it would do Raven software if you did choose to do the Raven software. And then after that, it's going to proceed with actually trying to debloat Windows. So you can see it makes your taskbar aligned left. Give it a moment. I believe it's restarting Explorer. And now that it is, you can see it made the taskbar black. It shifted your stuff back to the left like Windows 10, the way God intended. And now it's beginning the process of debloating your system. So very first thing it does is it tells Edge to go fuck itself. It's going to completely remove Edge and disable it, keep it from running in the background, keep it from reinstalling itself too, which is very important because Edge will always try to reinstall itself. I will go more into detail later if you're one of those people who likes Edge and wants to use Edge as your browser. Don't worry, we'll get there. There is a way you can get Edge back. It's very easy. So now it's trying to remove Outlook, and then it's going to try to remove OneDrive. And the reason why this has its own special step here, specifically for Outlook and OneDrive, is because Outlook and OneDrive are handled a bit differently. OneDrive is a lot more integrated in the Windows system than many other apps, so it requires a bit of its own dedicated step to deal with. And then the other debloating steps don't cover Outlook from testing, so we had our own step to do it. It's going to change your desktop background, and then it's going to go ahead and run CTT WinUtil. So the desktop background that you may have, if you were paying attention earlier in the video, the dark gray one, we did have a community member actually design a brand new one that they made themselves that we thought was really cool and looks very pretty. You'll get a better look at it when the install's finished, but I like it a lot. So now it's moving on to Rafi's WinDebloat, which is a script by a person called Rafi, who goes by Rafi online, of course, and they made this script to debloat Windows, remove a lot of these apps. So one thing you'll notice is that Talon, this tool, does use some other already existing tools for debloating Windows out there. What we did is we took those tools and we just automated the process and put it all in one place, packaged it all together to try to make it easier and more accessible for people who don't want to sit there, run PowerShell commands, or download and run scripts off GitHub and stuff. And now that it's finished, it's going through and it's going to restart the system. And here we are. This is the end result of the system. By the way, the only file that Talon will create is this log file. This is just in case if you want to see everything that it did to your system and you have any issues, you can always check and see what did and did not work. However, you can always delete the file on completion, and I will also delete this file as well. Here is the beautiful background that a community member who goes by Lily online made, so big shout out to Lily for that. It looks beautiful. And now, as you can see, Talon does make your taskbar black, left aligned. You can see the dumb widgets button and all that stupid crap is gone. Copilot's gone. OneDrive is gone. The OneDrive integration is completely gone. If I were to open up File Explorer, you'll even see that it actually isn't even here anymore. I feel like OneDrive is really shitty because I know several people who did not even realize that they were using OneDrive until I told them, and then they went, oh shit, you know, like it's really fucked up. But I will immediately say that this LinkedIn link survives, which I think is pretty shitty, but it is just a web link and it's actually not even actually installed to your system. When you click that LinkedIn button, then it installs it to your system. So that survives, but everything else is gone. And I did actually listen to your guys' feedback. You can see Phone Link is still here. Paint is still here. Notepad is still here. Microsoft Store is still here. And you can see that calculator and accessibility tools obviously are still here because those are very crucial. So every app, and I know that there are some more extreme people when it comes to debloating, and they think that, and they want everything gone. They want nothing on the computer. And while I understand that, you have to admit there are some apps that are objectively useful, of course. And so I didn't want to get rid of those. And so it does keep all of the necessary apps, I would feel, but it does get rid of all of the extra garbage. It makes your system very clean. And of course, if you chose to add Firefox, now Firefox is here. It doesn't make an icon on your taskbar for Firefox, but I believe Chrome does. But that's a bit out of our control. That depends on how the browser installs itself. But yeah, you can see that it all worked now. So let's go over in a little more detail now how it affects your system and what exactly it did. So to open up Task Manager, because people did want to see, so you can see the background processes is only 26 right now. So that's pretty nice. The CPU usage and whatnot obviously depends on what CPU you have, same with memory usage and stuff, but background processes is very low. Now let's talk about what it actually does. So very first thing that it did at the beginning of the script, and I'll even actually show you all, because the code is available right now on GitHub. So for anyone who's more tech savvy and who wants to inspect the code, make sure that it's safe before you run it. All of it's right here. So if we go to the debloat Windows script right here, you can see everything that it does. So it's going to make some changes to the registry to obviously make your taskbar black, to set Windows to dark theme, move the taskbar to the left, and then it makes those changes. Then it downloads the Edge Vanisher script. So our Talon uses CTT WinUtil, and then it uses Rafi's WinDebloat to combine them and to really make the whole thorough debloating process. Those are already existing tools. However, both Rafi's WinDebloat and CTT WinUtil both really do not do a good job at removing edge. From experience, they really, like, you can run CTT WinUtil's remove edge thing and it will still be there. So because of this, we ended up making our own homemade script to block edge and remove it completely. What it does, this script is actually really cool. So you may not be able to read this, but it's okay, I'll help you understand. So what it does is it uses the Edge installer application to uninstall itself. Then it goes even further and makes sure that it removes all of the start menu links, all the mentions, and then it goes through and deletes every folder. It deletes everything relating to Edge entirely. It deletes Microsoft Edge Update because that's a separate app. And then it goes through and it changes the folder's permissions to make sure that only you can modify what's inside those folders. So let me put it this way. So typically your system, the administrator users, and then your user account has certain permissions to a folder. What this does is it blocks the system, it blocks everything else on your system from being able to modify those folders, and then it gives only you the permission to modify those folders. So that way the system can't try to reinstall Edge at any time. And it's even actually resistant to Windows updates. So this will survive Windows updates. You won't be getting Edge anytime soon. Now, let's say you're one of those people, because there were many people in the comments who said that they actually did like Edge. They want Edge back. So if you do want Edge, you actually can still go download Edge. You can still go download Microsoft Edge, and if you were to, now it will say it's already installed, but it's actually not. So click download, accept the download, and then you actually can install it, and it won't have any issues. It will perfectly install, and you'll still be able to use Microsoft Edge perfectly fine. And voila. Oh god, I forgot about this stupid ass menu. No. So afterwards, after it finishes uninstalling Edge, it tries to uninstall Outlook and also tries to uninstall OneDrive. The next step is running CTT WinUtil and automating the process of running it to try to debloat the system. Now, CTT WinUtil is a great utility. Chris Titus, the creator of the tool, fantastic developer, absolute legend. However, this tool is definitely for more tech-savvy users. There's tons of checkboxes with stuff you may not know what it does. You got to click all these buttons. It takes several minutes, and it can take quite a while. And in order to run it, you have to run it by running these PowerShell commands, and it's not great. Like, trying to get your grandma or someone like that to run this would be nightmare fuel. So really, for the best, because Talon, a big part of it too, is I want people to be able to do this on their own. Like, a lot of people were even commenting. One dude even joined the Discord server, the Raven Discord server, link in the description, by the way, and he was talking about how, like, he was being very rude. He got removed from the server because of very foul language. He was calling people idiots, being very disrespectful. But he was talking about, like, oh yeah, well, I could easily walk, my grandma through installing this stuff, with PowerShell and all that. You're having to still walk her through it, though. What I would like her to be able to do it on her own without help. That's kind of part of why Talon's a thing too, is I don't want to have to sit there and guide everyone through that. Whenever one of my family members is complaining about Windows and wants to get it better, I can just send them a link and then just tell them run this, and then they'll be able to do it on their own without any help. I want that to be a reality. So that's part of the reason why the Talon exists, but we do use CTT WinUtil in the backend to automate, and we automate the process of checking all these boxes and all that. Rather than you having to manually do all that, we automate all of it for you, and we use it in the backend. So it runs that, it waits for it to finish, and then when it finishes, it exits. And then next is applying the beautiful desktop background. After that's finished, then what it does is it runs Rafi's WinDebloat. Rafi's WinDebloat is fucking awesome. So if I were to pull it up real quick here, it is a PowerShell script, and it allows you to, it automates a large portion of the process. And Rafi's WinDebloat, I feel, has a very big focus on just cutting out all of the pre-installed garbage off of your computer. So it does very good with that. However, you still do have to run a PowerShell script, and obviously this sort of thing is something that someone who needs to be more tech savvy would run. Like, let alone even just trying to get someone to go on GitHub to use this shit is already, like, big enough. So come on, like, Rafi's WinUtil is very nice, but it is nice to have it packaged and combined with CTT WinUtil and all in a clean, elegant UI. That's why we made this project, because I feel like that's what that makes it a lot more accessible to normies. And the reason why I'm really stressing this is because a lot of people in the last video did have criticisms of, like, well, how is this any different from CTT WinUtil or Rafi's or whatever? The difference is that it's a singular portable exe that all you have to do is click two buttons, and then you just wait. And then it automates all of this stuff. It combines several of these tools, several methods, and it puts it all together in one easy to access place. And you don't need to have any technical know-how to get it running and to get through it. That's why it exists. And so after Rafi's WinDebloat runs, then it finishes off with running the update policy changer. Now, After Windows debloats, there's obviously the question of, well, wouldn't an Windows update cause my computer to reinstall back all of the stuff that you removed? Obviously, that's an issue, and normally, yes. However, we did add a script created by a guy who goes by DT Legit Online, so massive shout out to that guy. He's an absolute legend. DT is the GOAT. He made this tool, simple script, where what it does is it sets your device to only do security updates. So your device will only receive security updates, not any new product bloat updates or any kind of crap like that. It's just going to only give you the important updates, which are security updates, and that's all. And I believe it does that for the next year. So after a year, I believe it does go back to accepting product updates. However, that is because of the way Windows is designed internally. I don't believe it allows you to go beyond a year with that. And reinstalling Windows once a year is kind of best practice, but I can understand how that'd be a little bit of an issue with normies. Maybe in a future update of Talon, we could try to look into making this edition last forever rather than it just being a year, but we'll look into that. As for this though, the release that I'm showing you guys right now is already available as this video as we speak, and you can, I mean, even at the time of recording this, the source code is available, but the release will be available. If you want to download this tool, you go to ravendevteam.org, which is our website, and then you click Explore Software. It'll be right, at the top here, then you click Download, and then it'll download the tool for you. So with that in mind, I want to move on to trying to show this tool against other debloating tools, because there are many out there that try to accomplish a similar thing to Talon. One of the tools that's similar to Talon is AME Wizard, and I actually talked to the owner and lead developer of AME Wizard. He reached out to me. We had a good conversation about this sort of stuff. But anyways, AME Wizard is similar to Talon, where it tries to make it as easy as possible to debloat your Windows system. However, I feel like the way they do it is a bit poorly done. And I want to be nice to the AME Wizard team because I genuinely love what they're doing. I feel like their software is pretty good. However, I feel if the focus is trying to reach non-tech savvy users, then this tool is not the one. However, when I did talk to the owner of AME Wizard, he did say that their target audience is kind of in the middle of tech savvy and non-tech savvy, like the kind of middle of like semi-tech savvy people. He told me that those were the kinds of people that he's trying to get here. The kind of people who are know how to use a computer but aren't exactly experts. So the first issue with AME Wizard, again, in regards to if they were trying to reach the non-tech savvy audience, is that you need a playbook file. What's a playbook file? It's a file that they use for the application in order to do the debloat process. Okay, let's use the Atlas OS playbook here. What you do is you open up this and you get this file here, and once you get that, you can drag it here. Now, after you drag it, then you can begin the installation process, and it tells you what you need to do. It tells you that you need to disable Windows security, so I can go ahead and run this action and disable that. Now that Windows security is disabled, then you can proceed with the next steps, and then it's going to analyze your installation and begin with the download. I'm not going to go any further with AME Wizard because I feel like the issues are pretty obvious. At that point, I feel like any kind of non-tech savvy user wouldn't bother. Some people like to go as far as trying to modify the Windows system itself before you install it. And so whenever you try to install Windows, you need a file called an ISO. And this is a type of file, it's legitimately a copy of the Windows system that you put on a USB drive, you plug in your computer, you reboot, and then you can install Windows from there. And a lot of people will modify this image and use tools like Tiny11 Builder to try to modify the Windows image and to allow it to remove all this crap, and it gives much more extreme control over what and how far you can go with getting your system debloated, because you can remove much more, because obviously you're making changes to the system while it's offline before you even install it, so it does allow for much more granular control. However, obviously this looks pretty complex. What you need to do is you need to download the ISO file from Microsoft's official website, then you need to add this auto unattend, then you need to use these Tiny11 Maker PowerShell scripts and all this stuff. Like, And then you actually even need to go as far as using Rufus or some other tool similar to it. You need to flash the image to the ISO. You need to, god damn, what the fuck? You need to flash the ISO to the USB drive, and then you need to boot into that by spamming the F keys, delete, whatever. And then you need to go through the whole install process, whatnot. Obviously way off the table for Gram, okay? And so, after all of that, then what do you have left? What do you do now? So, really, all that's left now is, honestly, in my opinion, Talon, because I have still yet to see any kind of tool that really addresses the non-tech savvy users and trying to bring debloating Windows and clean Windows installs to them. So this is what so that's the mission with Talon. That's what we've been doing. And for people who are writing mean comments right now, trying to talk about how bad Talon is, whatnot, and you're a developer or you're someone who knows a thing or two about code, talk is cheap, send patches, as I love that quote from, I believe that was FFmpeg. If you believe that there's something wrong with Talon, you believe that Talon could be better, you believe that there's something missing in Talon, like for those of you who dislike Edge not being one of the options. If you believe that Edge should be an option and you know a thing or two about code, contribute, because it's open source. All of the code is right here. You can make a pull request if you know how, and you can add whatever features you believe are missing. If you're not tech savvy and you don't know what to do, but you do have an idea for improvements, open an issue. When you open an issue, I'm not going to log in, but when you open an issue, you just give your idea, give your suggestion, and I'll review it, and if I like it, I'll add it. It's that simple. I believe that concludes this video, though. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for the tremendous amount of support. At the start of me posting that video, I was at 941 subscribers, and now I'm at 25,000. That's so huge. Thank you all for the tremendous support. It really means a lot to us. Lots more to come soon. Stay tuned. Thank you all.
¿Estás grabando? Sí. Creo que es la mejor manera de tener muchas fotos, ¿no? Sí.